All right, guys. So today we'll do a market review. I'm sure we've been talking about it all week. You guys have seen everything that's going on in the market. Um, it's just a lot to digest. But again, I think it's been what we've been preparing for. It's what we've been expected. But what I will say is, remember when we talked about the first signs of quantitative easing, will be a bat signal for us, or be a clue for us to say, hey, maybe the market is ready. Excuse me, maybe the market is ready to turn in another direction, right? So we got a little bit of a pump this week, and it didn't make sense that, with all the bank failures, everything is going down, and then the market, the crypto market especially, is going up in price, right? So that's what I'll just say again, guys. Let's please be cautious, please be careful in these times. If you're going to be trading in the market, make sure you're using your stop losses. Make sure you're being very cautious, because I think we're headed for a lot of volatilities. We can get some large pumps, and then we also will get some large dumps as well, in this particular climate that we're in right now. Today we'll look at the charts to kind of see what the invalidation points is. Are we headed? Are the bottoms in? I guess that's the question that everybody wants to know. Are the bottoms in? And where have we invalidated that on the chart? And that's what we want to take a look at, to see where we are exactly. So we'll get more into that. And then the ISO 222 compliant cryptos. We always talk about infrastructure, right? So this protocol is set to go into effect this month. So I have an article. We're going to go through that, and then we're going to look at the top ISO compliant cryptos. And again, not financial advice, but if you guys do not have these in your portfolio, I would think to think very seriously about looking at these particular projects, and having some exposure to them. Again, we always look at, success leaves clues. What is the underlying utility of any coin? That goes back to our 101 of analyzing the project. What is the founders behind it? What is the use case? What is the utility? And what is the likelihood of this particular coin having success? And then last but not least, is that where am I buying this particular asset at? Am I buying in value, or if I'm buying at the highs, or buying at the lows, right? So we'll be able to look at that, and we can pretty much guarantee that, even if we do have some more downside, which I do believe we have a little bit more to go. They're talking about the S&P going down another 25%. So if the S&P goes down another 25%, roughly, crypto markets could go down another 50%, right, from its current position right now. So that's what we want to be looking at. That would put us, at Bitcoin, currently trading at around 26, 27,000, but that would put us around that 13 to $10,000 range on Bitcoin, right? And the reason why, again, I say we have to really look at the broad picture of everything that's going on, because if we still look at the economy, we have to know that the economy is in trouble, right? And I don't believe, and this is just my opinion, but I don't believe that we're in a position where, this thing is ready to rip to the next level or new highs. I could be completely wrong, right? But I'm looking at the overall, macro economic situation with all these banks failing. And then if you understand why the banks are failing, based on they were buying bonds, which is supposed to be the most safest investment that you can buy. But with the Fed raising interest rates, that basically causes those bonds, to lose their value, and people have to sell them, or sell them at a discount, or banks having to sell them at a discount at market value, right? So taking a haircut on those, right? So these banks were invested not in risky assets. Yes, they probably were invested in some other riskier assets, but to say that they were investing in bonds, and then the interest rate on the bond yield is going up higher and higher as we start to try to as the Fed continues to try to depress the market and try to break the market. A lot of these banks are starting to fail, and that's not only secluded just to Silicon Valley Bank, Silvergate, signature. That's not that other banks have bonds on their balance sheet that are going to go through the same process. And the question is that now that the federal government has stepped in and said, hey, we're not going to let these people fail, is that a bailout, right? Is that the bailout? Is that the quantitative easing? Is that the money machines turning on? That's what we have to be. That's the question, right? So that's what we're going to have to monitor over the next coming months, guys. And if anybody's saying, hey, this thing is going to the moon tomorrow, the bulls is back, all that, I will be very, very, very cautious of those particular scenarios, because again, the mass amount of people have not felt the pain of the max pain situation. It hasn't came yet, right? It still hasn't came yet. People are still out here spending money. Things are still getting, things are still moving around. So all these cycles remain the same, right? And we're in the video today, you'll see that it just kind of compares to the dot-com boom, like gold, all the different booms that we've had, the booms and busts that we have, and they all do the same thing based on our it's psychological and our emotional intelligence as humans, because that's all the market is. It's a bunch of human emotions, and they tend to do the same thing over and over again. So we'll take a look at that. And then, but also it's okay. We understand what's coming. We understand roughly that a recession is looming over us. How do we prepare? How do we put ourselves in position to benefit from what's going on, right? Because if you understand that in every downturn, every market crash, every recession that you can think of, there were a group of people that made a bunch of money in those particular times. So it's always, because we're playing a zero-sum game, somebody has to lose, somebody have to win. As long as you position yourself to be on that winning side, then you'll do fine. You'll do well in this particular market. And I think, so we'll look at building a portfolio for the future of finance, because if these ISO 222 compliant crypto are going to be the backbone of the new financial system, then it only makes sense for us to be investing in those, which is going to undergird the whole financial system, right? So we want to make sure. So we'll go over those. We'll look at the numbers.